there is nowhere to hide. And here we are in 2025, and you have probably heard the expression, you will own nothing and be happy. And just like me and many other people, you are now looking for that country, for that place where the cost of living income ratio is still good, where you can raise kids, where you can grow, where it is safe. But it seems like there is nowhere to hide. Okay? Some of you have asked me in the comments, which country do you recommend? Okay? What is the best country in your opinion in 2025 to move to, where the cost of living income ratio is good, where it is safe, where you can raise kids, and so on? And my answer is none. None. Okay? In my opinion, now it's almost everywhere the same. No matter where you go, you will find more or less the same problems. All you can do is try to, let's say, cheat the system, be smarter, use some alternative solutions. But the traditional, used to be safe path, which consists of going to school, going to college, get that degree, go work for a boss for 40 years in a well-paid job, get that mortgage, afford that nice house, find a wife, have 2 kids at least, and be happy and work like this and live like this till you retire, and then live an amazing life somewhere, in paradise, in Mexico if you're from the US, or in Thailand, or in a cheaper place. This traditional path is broken. Okay, it doesn't work anymore. All what you will get if you follow this traditional path, which our teachers taught us, our parents taught us back in the days, not anymore if your parents are a little bit smart, is a path that will allow you to find a crappy job which doesn't pay enough, okay, just enough to get by, to pay your rent, to pay your groceries, your gas bills, your electricity bills, your huge taxes if you're in the Western world, and that's it. And you're basically living paycheck to paycheck. You can barely afford kids. You could, but you would struggle, okay? You can make good projects. You are living in a cubicle in a small house, in a terraced house or in an apartment, and that's it. You're living this rat race, just walking to exist, basically. Okay? You can't get ahead. You're just here to exist. You're just working to exist, to put food on your table, and to have a roof over your head, and that's it. Okay? That's it. You can't dream anymore. That's where we are. So you could say, okay, this is a Western problem, this is a US problem, a Canadian problem, a French problem, a Dutch problem, a German problem, and a Spanish problem, a Portugal problem, an Italian problem, a UK problem. And it is a problem, no matter where you are, okay? But let me tell you, it's not better there, okay? Some now dream about the BRICS, about developing countries, and it's the same over there. When it comes to this, cost of living, income ratio, nowadays it's the same shit everywhere, okay? Prices are growing, they are even skyrocketing in some places when it comes to real estate, for example. And the wages, no matter where you go now, I'm gonna take a few examples, don't worry, don't keep up with the rising cost of living, okay? If you make money locally. Of course, there are always exceptions. There are exceptional entrepreneurs over there, no matter where you go. There are some people who were lucky, some people with rich parents and so on. But if you follow the traditional path, no matter where you go, now, money-wise, it's not interesting anymore. Okay, you have to slalom around the system, around the obstacles, and be smarter than the system. You have to use alternative systems. If you follow the traditional path, you're basically screwed, okay? And it's the same everywhere. For instance, I'm French. I'm currently based in France. And I'm not in a hurry because at the moment, here in Western Europe, or even in Eastern Europe, I have to be in France for the time being, but no matter where you go, it's almost the same everywhere. Okay, some places, granted, are safer than others. Okay, little bit in Western Europe. Eastern Europe is safer than Western Europe. Okay, that's for sure. But when it comes to the cost of living, living expenses, income ratio, if you are not an entrepreneur, if you don't use alternative systems, it's always the same. You want to move to Poland? Okay. You want to work locally? Okay. Poland is cheaper than France. Poland is cheaper than the US or the UK. But the wages there are crap. You want to move to Russia? The new Russian dream. Okay, yeah, it's cheaper there in some ways. Not if you buy imported products. Russia is cheaper in some ways, especially if you want to live a simple lifestyle. Okay, I'm talking about a simple lifestyle, not about affording that big house with your kids and fancy cars. Okay, but the wages there are utter crap. Okay, we are talking Africa levels in the countryside, and in Moscow we are talking poverty levels by US or Canadian standards. In minimum wage levels by French standards, or even less. Okay, so if you work locally, if you make money locally, you don't solve the problem. You know, the cost of living ratio, income is the same. You want to move to Bulgaria? Yeah, Bulgaria is a good place if you are a location independent entrepreneur, if you make money in the Western world, and move there. But if you make money locally in Bulgaria, you will struggle. Okay, and I'm not even mentioning that when you move to another country, you most likely don't master the language, you don't understand the culture, you don't know, the way people think, you don't know the local market when it comes to business, so you will struggle more than a local person who knows his country and its mentality, So keep that in mind. So when it comes to money-wise, I think it's always the same now, unless you use alternative systems. Back in the days, 15 years ago, you could get a good Western package, for example, get a job in the Western world, and move to developing countries, because companies in the Western world they wanted to develop their business there, so they were eager to send you to the developing countries with good salaries, a good package, company apartment, company cars, and so on, because times were different. Nowadays, with the war, with the tensions with China and so on, it's very difficult to find this job, if not these kind of jobs, if not impossible. Okay. So what I'm saying is, it's more or less the same everywhere now, unless you use, and now I'm gonna explain what I think is the way to go, unless you use a international arbitrage. For example, if you make a US average income and live in Southeast Asia, then you're the golden one. If you make a high US salary, somewhere in Eastern Europe, you're the king. Then you live good, because you're using a strong economy, a strong wage, and spend it in a country where it's cheaper. Okay, so if you use that arbitrage, if you make money there and spend it money in one place and spend it in another place where it is cheaper, then you are kind of cheating the system, and then it makes sense to move. Okay, but locally, if you make it locally, it doesn't make sense. The wages are too low. They are too low. For example, I took the example of Russia, a country I've lived 11 years in. I do speak and read the language fluently. I'm half Russian, by the way. So my wife is Russian, okay, and we do meet a lot of Russians here in France. There is a community, and for example, the interest rates in Russia are now 20%. So if you want to buy a home, it's expensive. It's expensive to borrow money, and let me tell you, for example, in Siberia, a real estate market I do know quite well. The prices of apartments, for example, have tripled. They have tripled in 5 years. Okay, but the wages, some wages, depending on what you do, grew by 50%. But what's the difference between making 300 euros per month and 500 euros per month? A few hundred euros or a few hundred euros or a few hundred bucks per month. It's the same shit. Okay, the same in China happens. Now they have a real estate bubble. Real estate is way too expensive compared to the you know what people make. They make less and less kids, just like the Western world. Russia doesn't make enough kids, just like the Western world. It's the same shit. For example, in China, people can't afford kids anymore. They struggle now. You know, everything is so expensive. They are in a rat race, and it's just basically what people are living in the West. It's the same in Australia. It's the same down under. You remember the down under dream, the Australian dream? 20 years ago, I remember living the Australian dream was something a lot of French people were talking about. A lot of French people wanted to move to Australia too bad because it was the land of opportunity. Nowadays, Australia is a country in which, you know, the cost of living is just too high. You can move there, make good money, but the cost of living is so high that it doesn't make sense. What? I got a job offer in Sydney, Australia in 2017, okay? The money wasn't bad, but I did my math, and it turned out, you know, I would just live in Sydney, make good money, but spend everything on rent, groceries, and gas bills. And I would have nothing left at the end of the month, so I wouldn't get ahead, so it didn't make sense, you know what I'm saying? So it's very important to understand that, yeah, moving to a cheaper place doesn't mean you will spend less. It depends where you make your money and how you make it. Or moving to a place where wages are higher doesn't mean you will keep more. It depends what the cost of living is, you know. And today, in this situation, I do consider it's more or less the same everywhere. It's more about, you know, which lifestyle you like to live. What are your political views? Do you like dictatorships or do you like freedom, you know? Do you like more of a poly state or more of a woke state? Because now basically it's what we've got, you know. The woke West or a dictatorship BRICS bloc, you know. Not all countries now in the BRICS are dictatorships, but most of them are, and you will not have freedom of speech. If you have to watch what you say online, for example. You cannot talk freely, for example, about the government, about a war, about a president or a public figure, for example. These countries, when it comes to basic human rights, these countries are far worse. Okay. So, between the woke West, which I do criticize a lot because I'm not a woke person, I'm more of a traditional conservative person. Between the woke West and a dictatorship, I still pick the woke West. You know what I'm saying? So now it's more about making compromises and thinking, okay, what's the less best solution? The less bad solution. The less bad countries. All countries nowadays suck pretty much. It's now about finding the less bad place and doing a compromise between what can you live with and what not, you know? I still prefer freedom with all its its heaps of problems to a dictatorship in which you can looked up for nothing, for a few words, for criticizing the government, or just because you are a person who grew up in the Western world and you happen to speak a lot of languages and the officials where you are become paranoid. You know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. So yeah, that's it basically. But yeah, as far as the solution goes, alternative solutions, okay? Invest in things that have a high potential of growth. I'm a little bit everywhere, you know. I do own real estate. I do own crypto as well. I have multiple businesses online. Some now are failures. Some are still, making money. I'm working on other projects, online to make my income, But I don't use the traditional path because the traditional path is broken and won't bring me anywhere. It will just bring me to this crappy, rat race, which consists of living paycheck to paycheck, and don't get ahead. I want to get ahead in life, I want to have kids. I want to have some comfort. I want to feel growth where I am, And for that, the only solution now, no matter where you are, is to use alternative, sometimes risky solutions, and be not like everybody else. Trying to be different, because when you're different, you can do things differently. Okay, try to be a different person, not to be a copy of everybody, everybody who's around you. You know, try to be different persons to have different outcomes. And if you're not that kind of person, you're more of, of a average Joe. In my opinion, the best solution now is to, if you don't want to move to another country, or if you want to move to another country, no matter where you are, it's always the same. Look for the jobs that are the most sought after in this country, the most sought after, and that pay the best. Okay, once you know in a country in which you want to move to which you want to move to, what are the most sought after professionals and the best paid jobs, you learn that job. You know that the skills you need to do this job. You stick to it and you do that job. For example, if in the country you are in, the plumbers are making the big bags, you become a plumber. If it is the IT specialist, you become an IT specialist. If it is the carpenters, you become a carpenter. If it is the electricians, you become an electrician. Okay, doesn't matter what people say about your profession. If people say, yeah, but it is a blue collar, it is a not a high status job, it doesn't matter. Okay, if it pays well and if it is well sold out where you are, stick to that profession and don't look for something else. Don't look for the fancy stuff. Okay, go where the money is. That's what I would do. You either use the alternative solutions, try to cheat the system with slaloming around all the obstacles and all this crappy stuff you have to live with, and make compromises, go for the less bad and try to be smart, or you stick to the profession that makes the money where you are, the sought after professional and well paid professional. Okay, and it can be, and most often than not, be blue collar jobs. Here, for example, in France, people I know here in the countryside, well, I'm in the French countryside, of course, in Paris it's not the same, but in the French countryside, people who make the best money here are plumbers, welders, electricians, carpenters. They are in construction. They make the money here, not the white collar people here. Okay, just an example. It could be different in other countries, but that's what I would do. Anyway, if this was interesting, smash that like button and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe. So now you've got my answer. None. No country is better, I think, than others nowadays. It's more about finding the right solution for you and make compromises and go for the less bad. Anyway, you can book a one-on-one call with me. In the description you find some links. If you want to move abroad, if you want to talk about solutions to be free, be location independent, wake up late if you want to. I wake up late every day and go sleep night late every day because I can. And talk about alternative solutions to move abroad, have a better life. I'm still working on it. I'm now in a situation in which I have to stick to to this place. I could move if I wanted to, but I want to stick to this place for familiar reasons. But sooner or later I will be moving again because I think there are better compromises for me and my wife and my future family and so on. Anyway, talk to you soon and have a good one. We are out.